A couple of months ago, I was pushing buttons on my computer machine at work when I got a message from my buddy Josh at Norb's Auto Salvage. I buy from them somewhat frequently. And he said, "Hey, do you want a Bentley engine for your channel?" And I don't know about you guys, but my head goes to, yeah, is it out of like a Continental? Is it out of a RollsRoyce? Something awesome? He's like, it's out of some 80s Bentley. We've had it for a really long time, and it's broken, so I think you'll want it. Well, I do like broken engines. I also like learning how engines are constructed, whether they're super late model or from the beginning of time. So we worked out a deal, and now I have this lump. This is a 6 3/4 liter V8. Appears to be a pushrod engine out of what I assume from my research is a 1987 Bentley Mulsanne S. It's a 230 horsepower, about 400 foot-pound of torque V8 that propels that land yacht to 60 in a yawn-inspiring 17 some odd seconds. It was the 80s. Got to remember that. And from looking at it, at first, I don't even know what all these parts are. I know what they're trying to do, but I don't even know what they're called. So we're going to take this thing apart. We're going to see how bad it's broken. I can tell you, bad. And hopefully we have some fun in the process. So let's just get this out of the way. This is something called CIS, or constant injection system. It's a fuel injection system where it has a fuel distributor, this plate, which is supposed to return a little faster than that, which dictates how much fuel goes to the nozzles based on the airflow going through the engine. This is the non-turbo version of this engine, the L410i. This engine came out in the 50s. And I think it ran to the late 2000s. They had turbos on them, and they made a lot more power, like 450 horsepower or something. But this is what I would consider antiquated technology. You won't find SIS systems on anything modern. I had a system like this on my 1983 320, and it was not the easiest thing to figure out, especially since it's before my time. There's other things going on here. It looks like a secondary air injection tube, maybe, I think. And it's got this weird top hat thing on top of the... We're just going to take it apart. One thing I did notice as I was unpacking it, it's hurt pretty bad. There's a certain Doors song that comes to mind. But not all of this damage was done from whatever happened to this engine. This engine was probably locked up from this explosion. I think those holes in the pan were from whatever happened from the inside. But there's also some saw marks on it. Looks like it's been hammered on. I think they had to do some things to take it partially apart so they could get the transmission off, get all the torque converter bolts out. Which, by the way, of all of the engines I've ever had in this shop, and there's been a lot, this was the worst one I've ever dealt with to put on an engine stand. You'll notice that I'm using my original engine stand because I am unwilling to chop down the arms on my nice one. And I don't have any bolts for this because these bolts are 9mm diameter thread. 9s! Why could you just make it an even 10? And then the smaller ones are 7s. But why? English. That's why. Well, the first logical step is to turn it over, and it actually has a crankshaft nut, and it is a 34mm. I'm going to call out some of the bolt sizes when I find them ridiculous, because when's the last time you got a chance to work on a Bentley engine? I hate the stand. Okay, so it moves about 6 degrees. Not even. This is going to be a real fun one. Let's pull the plugs. Oh, man. When I pulled the first spark plug out of this engine, I was like, champions, this isn't a lawnmower. And then 2 cylinders later, I literally pulled a lawnmower spark plug out. It's also a champion. And I just... I've torn down some engines in my day, and I've never seen that. Not ever, not once. I mean, it fit. You gotta give him some credit. Man, this is This is not what I expected. So the gap on some of these plugs is way too small. So that leads me to think that we might find some malice in the combustion palace in this engine. The straps are kind of bent to the side on a couple. And then, of course, here's our used Champion lawnmower. I'm going to keep that. I think that fits mine. And I also found like a spider's nest in one. It's clear this engine's had some sort of life that I wish I could see. So I know we need to start taking some bolts out. I don't really know where to start because, I mean, look at it. But I did want to point something interesting out. This vehicle has a cold start injector. This is something that a lot of Volkswagens and Audis use from the 80s and early 90s. I guess that's probably when it started to fade away. And they used them to inject extra fuel. It's a static injector, does not pulse. It's just on or off. A lot of turbo guys in the 90s and early 2000s used to use these as an additional fuel source. You'd grab one of these, drill a hole in your charge piping before the throttle body, and then control it with a Hobbs pressure switch that you stole off a Saab turbo. I know that's kind of nostalgic for a few of you. But I think we're going to take this contraption off. I think. I mean, the bolts have to be on the inside of this, right? What's underneath this thing? An intake plenum. Okay. So I don't really know what the proper order is. So we're just going to start taking stuff apart. Did that do anything for me? How does that even come off? I think I take it off here. I don't know if that was the move. I think that's the throttle body. Alright, well, we're just going to deal with that later. So here are the bolts inside that plenum. If you look closely, I have to bend two little tangs so that I can get the socket on them. I guess that's to keep them from backing out and going down the intake. I'm not really sure what the U on all these bolts stands for. If somebody knows, please put that in the comments. Also seems like none of the hardware has flanged nuts or bolts. That's where the carb goes. Next, I think we're going to start cracking some of these fuel lines loose. Hopefully they come right out. I have hope. I wonder though, should I leave the lines in? No, I don't even know if I can. I feel like if I ship it that way, if I sell it, this is the only valuable part besides the valve covers, I think, from this engine. I also have to find someone with a Mulsanne S. It's going to be an easy task. All right, well, these are almost all loose. I think I'm going to crack them loose at their nozzles. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Okay, it's off. That's some other type of injector, I think. It looks like that's what that is. Oh, we have some fuel in there still. Whoa! That's bad. I just need to be able to get that loose and swung out of the way. All of this is working against me. All right, I think we're pretty close to pulling the CS unit out. I think the only thing holding it in is this rubber piece. I think this is a... Yeah, that's what size it was. So these fuel distributors, this fuel system is often called Jetronic. There's L-Jetronic, K-Jetronic, and they were pretty common in European cars in the early 80s, late 70s, all the way pretty much through the late 80s, depending on what kind of car it is. And it has this fuel distributor, and I'm not going to take this apart. I'm not saying that I couldn't put it back together, but I don't remember how bad that is. But you have a plunger here, and air rushes past this, which has a fulcrum, and it pushes a pin up into here. And the pin has a slot that gets bigger the further up it goes, letting more fuel out. And that's essentially how it works. There's all kinds of different things for adjustment, and the system is relatively reliable as long as old gas doesn't sit in it like what happened to this. So this will probably be sold as a builder's part, someone to take it apart, clean it, and reseal it. I think I can get these fuel lines. Wait. Yes. All right, we're almost ready to start peeling the intake manifold off, but we have some weird stuff. I don't really know what this part does, but it needs to come off. At least this line does. Oh, it's tied into this thing. Crankcase vent? I don't know. This is starting to smell very poorly. You know what? This power steering pump, that's got to leave. Eviction notice is now. It also weighs like 48 pounds. And the bracket's loose. I can't even tell what size the bolts are on this engine. Those were 1/2 inch. Next, we're going to remove this smog pump line, air injection line. This is a 3/4 inch. I guess we can pull the plug wires off now. So my next move was to pull the intake manifold. We just got some bolts here, but there's this one bolt that's blocked right here. Well, I thought, okay, maybe I can get a wrench on that, or maybe I'll just remove this piece, and this is probably O-ringed in, and I just have to remove this off the timing cover water pump housing. But then you've got this pipe here with a backwards bolt, and I don't know how to get to that. I'm just going to start taking some bolts out and see what happens. I think this is what the manual says you should do. Look at all that room. And now the backwards bolt. What do I do here? Okay. Blue. What happens when I... Oh, we have movement. The question is, can I get this out of the way enough without breaking it? Oh, wait. I think I can do something else. There's another bolt right here. I think I'm getting somewhere. Oh, this bracket's in the way. Who designed this? And why? What? Well, that didn't help me. I guess we'll take this bracket out. You know what? I think I can pull it up with the intake now. I don't think I need to pull that bracket. Let's try that. So I have this fancy pants socket. It's not really fancy. This will work. We got this. Okay, now I think we can zip the rest of these bolts out. That sounded like all the bolts were out. Yeah. Well, these intake ports are just massive. I don't really see any problems in here, and they're pretty clean. You can see that injector coming down. That's that right there. Same deal on this side. Looks like some hardware made its way down in there. It's not a big deal. All right, now I'm going to remove the valley cover. I'm dying to know what's behind this. Oh, spring loaded. Oh, neat. I still don't know what these do. It's some sort of pump. So each of those things is a little pump. It's driven off the cam. There's the lobe right there that drives it. And there's the other lobe. And I suppose that's fuel. I don't know what else it would be, but this is like old school DI, but it's not, because the injectors are not in the combustion chamber. It's pretty interesting. And there's these. Pretty simple. Also, if you're wondering, I got a mess of parts with this engine. It was partially disassembled when it got here. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I have it. Next, I'm going to take a minute and remove the exhaust manifolds. Okay, it's time for the dipstick tube. It's gonna be okay. It's English. I don't know if that has any bearing on it or not, but see, it is finally time to peel a valve cover off. We've been at this for a while now, and now we can get a valve cover off of it. What's it look like in there? That's incredibly simple. This is a pretty simple design. I feel like I'm looking at a tractor here. I don't see anything obviously wrong. It's pretty varnished in here, but you have to remember, in the 80s and 90s, the quality of oil is not what it is today. Although I have seen engines from that era that look perfect inside. So maybe this wasn't maintained. Now we're going to remove the rocker arm and the rocker shaft. I think these are 7/16. Now we'll pull the push rods out. It's a pretty interesting rocker design. These actually bolt to head bolts. I'll show you that in a minute. There's our push rods. There's a lot of varnish, a lot of sludge on them for what they are, but I don't see any damage. All this looks about as what I'd expect for what we've seen so far. So the head bolts, you got your center bolts, and then outside bolts here, and I believe these are bolts here too. I think it's about that time that we crack these loose. And this is going to be a ton of fun on this engine stand that doesn't have brakes. It'll be like old times. So this is going to be interesting. I have no idea what the sequence is. I don't know if it matters. I'm going to do my best. And I can't use an impact socket just because of the proximity to the seat of the spring and how small this is. I need a thin wall socket. So I love everything about this. Hopefully they're not that tight. They're not so far. These are also nuts, and they're going to get stuck in every single trigger pull. I don't think I missed any. I also don't know what it's going to take to get this head up, but I am going to get the pan and do my best in case anything falls out. All right, let's see if we can break the seal. Oh, I think I'm breaking the seal now. Oh, caught a little bit of leakage. As they're studs, so it's going to be a little harder to get the head off. That made no difference. Please, please, please. It's laughing at me. I mean, I have a forklift. I don't know if it knows that. I think you guys know that. We are leaking. These washers are screwing me up here. Man, I am not only riding the struggle bus, I'm driving it. I'm going to remove all of these washers and see if that helps me. It's no different. It's not better. It's not worse. Not the way I like to do it, but we're moving. Ugh. All right, I've resorted to hammering soft things. Will that help us? No. This side is loose as a goose. That side, tight as some other animal that rhymes with tight. Oh, hey, we're moving. I've been at this for like 15 minutes now, just to get the head off. Wow. So I'm actually prying against the head gasket surface, which that doesn't really bother me so much. I still don't like the way I have to do this, but this head has to come off. I mean, that's just part of the rules. It's like stuck on one of the studs in the center, I think. I sure hope the other one's not going to be like this too. I guess we could get some
penetrator
to spray on it. I don't think that's going to help me right now. We're going to think about this a little different. We're going to hammer some wood in places, and it's going to be fine, I think. Maybe not. There's only one way to find out, though. I've never had to do this before. Oh, we're making progress. Not the way I like it. All right, guys. I don't know how much more I got to do on this thing, but I don't even think I'm moving it any further. It looks like it's just coked oil holding this thing in. That'd be insane. I'm stronger than oil. I guess now I can do this too. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Doubt in life. Just gonna pull really hard. Didn't work. Come on, cylinder head. Release! I'm back with some more wood. I don't understand. I didn't want to do this, but got my little bar. It'll get things out. Trying not to scar up the heads, you know. You know, all this RollsRoyce people are going to get mad at me. I don't really care about the block. We know that's broken. I'm not sure what to do here, guys. I don't like destroying things, but I don't know how this head's going to come off. All right, I don't think this is going to work whatsoever, but well, somebody's got some better ideas. Actually, look at that. It's got a wedge. I should probably do it on the other side. We get somewhere with this? Oh, I think we're somewhere. Oh. We are so impossibly close. Man, that head stud sucks. All right, I got it a little warm. See if that changes anything. Whoa there, whoa there, whoa there, whoa there. I think we're getting somewhere because I can see Yes. I can hear sizzling. That was painful, so painful, and it stinks. Remind me not to agree to do a head job on one of these. Ate some Japanese food earlier, so at least I had some ammo. Let's see if we can get this head gasket off. I bet we can. It's no longer in the condition it used to be. I don't know if I can get this off because of all the junk built up on the bolts. So that's what was keeping me from getting that head off. Man. I need something for this heartburn. So much crud. And that's rust and burnt oil stuff. Okay, head gasket's off. Does not appear to be damaged any more than I damaged it. Well, first things first, we need to do our test. Not okay. 3 out of 4 is not bad. This looks like a war zone in here, but that's not from me. Those little marks on there, I don't think those are from me. Because if you look, that piston is straight, and this one's a little rotated in the bore. Cylinder walls don't look terrible from what I can see. We're gonna need to really clean this up quite a bit. Cylinder head doesn't look terrible. This is the cylinder that probably will have a little bit of valve damage. Might be okay. Might have survived. I have no idea if these heads are worth anything. I don't know anything about what the value of this engine has except for the valve covers and the fuel distributor. That's it. Finally, we can start on the other side. Finally. Well, this side looks a little cleaner than the other side. So I got hope that maybe I won't fight this so much. You're right. This side is definitely cleaner. I don't really see anything wrong. I don't see any piles of forbidden glitter. Nothing's broken or bent that I can tell yet. Next, we'll cram these rockers off. These push rods look a lot better. I'm going to get this crankcase ventilation piece off. It'll be easier to get the head bolts out. Back to head bolts. I think we're going to deal with the same problems. Oh man, it feels like it. Where's my big mallet? I think we're going to be okay with this one. Leaking, I don't even care anymore. I've got pig mat and a floor cleaner. Please, please, please. Oh my, that's what I needed. Well, if you notice, this head gasket looks different. Because someone's been in here, but it didn't matter. Because it's got a blowed head gasket. It's bad. And the rest of this doesn't look very good. There's some rust in that cylinder. We've got one suspiciously clean piston, not in the vicinity of the one that's, blown. Let's go look at that cylinder head. So I don't know if you can tell, but this was expertly resurfaced. This is for sure one of those, I know a guy that can do it cheaper. But it's okay because it's on a Bentley. And then if you look, that valve isn't seated. It might be bent, but it's not seated. The rest of these appear to be seated. It looks like they even used the whiz wheel in that combustion chamber. I don't understand people. I mean, okay, maybe this was the 80s or 90s when this happened. I still don't understand. It was even cheaper back then to have a head resurfaced. All right, let's see if we can get this head gasket off. I am so happy that head came off much easier. That would explain why that someone's been in here. Yeah, look at that right there. Not good. Now it's time for our test. A perfect score. Now we can start on the short block. Let's get this broken crank pulley. That wasn't terrible. Now will this come off okay? Do I need a pulley for this? Please tell me I don't need a pulley for this. Nah, we're good. I don't even know if I needed to do that. Blue. Woody and blue. What do you know? Come on, hang in there. Watch out. I have no idea if this is going to work. I'm going to go with no, but you guys can watch. Maybe you'll learn what not to do. It's literally laughing at me. This is not the way. Let's try this puller. Will it work? I don't know. That's why I said try. Doesn't appear to want to work. Let's try this. There seems to be parts falling off of this. Is it important parts? Yes, it's important parts. Yeah. It came right off of there again. That's not supposed to happen. All right, what happened? We were moving, now we're not. Let's try this again. It doesn't seem to be too happy right now. Let's get a breaker bar on it. Hopefully it doesn't rotate the puller like that. Bad stuff's happening. All right, we're gonna have to reset. Well, guys, I got really lucky. Really lucky. I literally just put this on here and pulled. And it came off. That was not fun. And I know what you were saying. You should just use the bolt holes. Use your puller with the bolt holes. Well, I would do that if these weren't 7 by 0.75 or whatever size this is. Yeah, not great. Well, now that that debacle is over, let's start zipping some more bolts out. I probably could use that bolt. And that one. Well, I'll save them for next time. Look at this horse hockey. The bolts were in my face the whole time. There's this bracket that's in the way here. Wait a minute. Oh, someone's been here before. Well, I have 2 more 13s. This is one of the most bizarre engines I've worked on in a long time. I think I've got all the bolts out of it. It looks like it might have a 2-piece timing cover. It looks like there's a seam right here, which seems like a very bad idea to me. But what do I know? Let's give it a little thunk. Wow. Did not expect that. See inside of the timing cover? It's got this little overlap here with, it looks like nothing keeps it from leaking. I don't see a seal or RTV. I would wager they're supposed to be. Let's see if we can get the bottom one off now.
Wow.
That's kind of cool. This is unexpected. I did not expect to find a gear-driven valve train, but that's what we have here. This is a giant cam gear, and I bet that weighs a lot. Maybe it's aluminum. There's no tensioner to fail. This is kind of cool. I'm going to unbolt this, and we'll see what happens. Parts are falling. It's aluminum. Look at that piece of equipment right there. That was unexpected. It's pretty neat, actually. I kind of like it. Now it's time to pull the lifters. Nope. Are those staked? They sure are. This is going to be fine. It's going to be fine, guys. It's fine. Bend these clips with magic. You know what? I can probably slide these lifters up and out without pulling these out. Yeah. Flat tappets. Will they all fit out this way? What do we think? Yes, no, maybe so. So far, so good. And they're out. These are flat tappets. There's a little bit of wear. They don't look terrible. I think we would see some damage to the cam if we saw damage to one of these. These all look pretty good. And they're just pretty simple design. Because I don't know how the distributor is driven, I'm just going to remove this little pedestal. I do have the distributor, but it just wasn't installed. I don't know if this is going to do anything or not. I'm going to go with not. Just give it a little tap. Does that come out on its own? Hey, that was the right call. Next, this cam plate. Oh, all of those have little keepers too. Actually, all of these are like that. This is going to take a hot minute. Okay, let's see what happens. That's all that is. So I have one long bolt. It came with the hardware from this engine. We're going to use that to pull the camshaft out. I hope this is all it takes. It isn't all it takes. Missed a lifter. I don't think that's going to be enough, though. Oh, no. This just got a lot more complicated. So it appears that there's an access panel back here. For what, I don't know. But it's going to be a lot of fun to get to because the ring gear is trapped in here. And hopefully it doesn't get in the way. I really don't want to pull the engine back off the stand. It's not fun. It's not a great time, guys. Okay, wish me luck here. It's fine. Just don't look there. So there's a gear. Oh, that's the distributor gear. I can do this. Oh, please don't be staked. They don't look like they're staked or chickened. This just keeps getting more funner and funner. Figured I'd shine a little light on the situation here so you can see what I'm doing. All right, there's one. I think I got it. And when I say staked, I mean there's just a piece holding it. Staked is a different thing. I know that. Oh, this is so fun. This is one of those things you do before you take anything else apart. Let me get an extension. This is quarter drive. This is going to be great. How can I lock the cam up now that nothing can stop the cam from turning? Well, I have some ideas. This will do it, right? See, it goes like that and stops it, right? Or will it go this way? Either way, I think we're covered. I think we are in luck. Now, will this just fall right off? Probably not. Let's see if we can get this cam to knock that off of there. Yeah. And then will this come out? Wow, that's heavy. It's brass. That's kind of cool. It'd be a cool piece on the desk. Okay, see, this should just come out nice and easy. I can help it on the other side since I have access through the valley. Well, the cam definitely has a little bit of damage where it sits in the cam bearings. Lobes have a little bit of wear as well. They're not quite as peaky as they used to be. It just looks like a tired old camshaft. A 6 3/4 race cam. I'm just kidding. And this distributor drive gear, there's some pretty nice machine work on this engine, I must admit. And it looks like this engine doesn't use cam bearings, at least not there or anywhere else. So if it trashes this, I guess you drill it out and you put a bearing in its place. They don't look terribly worn. It's a pretty interesting design though. Next, we're going to see if there's any residuals in the oil pan before I roll it over. Empty. That's what I like to see. Well, now I'm going to roll this thing over. This is the part I've been dreading since I had it on the stand. I'm not looking forward to this. Hopefully I've taken enough weight off of this to make it not so terrible. Please don't be terrible. Oh, we're leaking. I'm panless. Whatever, I got enough pig mat here. Oh, it's leaking all kinds of stuff. Well, it looks like someone shot a couple rods through the pan, which is probably what happened here. It also looks like someone tried to saw this thing in half. It actually looks like there's only one bolt holding it together. There's only one bolt holding it together. So this is a one-piece pan converted to a two-piece pan. Look at those exit wounds. And this is thick steel. This is from the 80s. That 80s British steel. And what do we have in here? Oh, there's some damage. Let's pull the second oil pan off of this. It's not quite the party platter I hoped for, but we still got some stuff. Well, it looks like there's damage from both the engine itself and what someone did to it. That's a spectacle there. This right here, stay in one spotlight. This is from using an air chisel with a non-turn collet, I think. I don't think that's something the engine did to itself. And that is a piece of block. And the Picasso in there, that's the engine's doing. What is this? I can't tell what that is, but there's another piece right here. Well, I think that eliminates the fact that that's rod bearing. That's not. It's probably pan gasket. And someone definitely cut this thing in half, probably to get this to turn over so they could get the torque converter. What a terrible job that was. They had a bad day. The inside of the crankcase isn't quite as chaotic as you would expect. I have a feeling that some of this was done not by the engine itself, but by whoever tried to get this thing unstuck. And I can tell you that this one is loose. That's just finger tight. This hole is massive, and it was probably made so that they could get access to both of these. I mean, when the engine's broken, the engine's broken. You can't really help it. If you want to sell the transmission. Now, I have no idea who is putting a transmission in a 1987 Mulsanne, but if you want to sell it, you got to have it out. Pickup isn't full of debris. I think at this point, it is time to pull the oil pump off this engine. It's right here, and we'll see how that goes. Thank God those weren't captured. There's something else holding this in. Let's get blue on this job. I'm ruining it, which is okay with me. Selling an oil line out of a engine that's blown up like this is not really on my list of achievements that I'd like to do in my life. Well, that's ruined now. Jeez. Yeah. And it's stuck in some dowels. You know we're going to take this apart. This old technology, I want to see if there's a paddle wheel in here. I don't know if I'll be able to get either of these out. Oh, that one comes out. Oh, cool. Those are pretty neat pieces. This one's going to require some time that I'm not going to spend. I could take that, looks like a cotter pin, get that off, but let's get this sprayed down and see if we can see any damage. Well, there is somewhere at the edge of this rotor. I don't know if that's normal. This is the very first one of these I've ever torn down. But that definitely looks like some wear to me. The rest of it looks pretty decent. A little bit of wear on that, and I can't really tell what this looks like. But I would wager it's similar to these two pieces here. Kind of neat pieces. And more captured stuff, it looks like. It's my favorite. Can I use this to turn the crank? Nope, I can use it to turn the motor, just not the crank. I gotta start at the front. It's like my thing, hygiene. But I am going to start with what I have access to, and that's just how it's going to have to be. I don't see any other way. I suppose we're going to start with these two cylinders here. If I can get on, yes, I can. These are 12-point half-inch. I'm just kidding, they're 13s. I'm not sure I can get these out this way. I might have to do this with all of them, although I don't know if I can do that way. Let's see if we can tap them out. Yeah. God, look at them suckers. It's gigantic. Let's see if we can get this. Oh, yes. Wait a minute, something's wrong here. I think this is the one that blew up. Hey, look at that. That's what did all the damage. I know, I might ruin it. Well, that part is inside the broken side, so that doesn't want to go anywhere. So we're going to come back to that, and we're going to go to something else we can get out. Well, this may not work because the studs that the rod cap bolts to might hit the block or the crank. It does. Can I have my glove back? Yes, so that does not work. Let me get my big bar and let's see if we can turn this thing over. First, let's try this. I don't really want to pry against the mating surface of the oil pan. Also, I suppose I should put the bolt back in it. And by bolt, I mean pin. Of course, pin. I wouldn't do this with a bolt. Okay, well, it bent my long punch, but it's okay. We can just do it the other way and get it back straight. See? You can never tell. If this doesn't do it, it should have. That didn't do it. There we go. We moved it a little bit. Can almost get that one out. Ah, yes. I think I can get that one out. My hope is that the more I remove, the easier this gets to turn over. Oh, that's full of fluid. I think I can get this one off now. Oh, yeah. Now I have no idea what I want to do. Oh, look at that. Oh, yes. That is stupendous. Okay, we'll get this one and these two. That's it. Uh-oh. We have problems. The bolt is spinning because it popped out of the rod. There, we're back in biz. Okay. Let's get these main cap bolts out. Will you shut up, fitting? It's actually not the fitting. It's the airline itself. Need to replace it. Okay, so to get these out, I just need to... I have no idea if that's doing anything. How are you supposed to get these out? They're not threaded, so you can't use a slide hammer. Maybe you're supposed to use glue. I don't know. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. That wasn't too bad. Now the next question. Can I lift the crank out of it? Okay, it's heavy. This is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem. It's all going to be fine. This is good for it. I think every step of this engine has been a challenge. Well, the crank's out. Yeah. All right, now I'm going to use my brass drift. I'm going to get this thing out. Well, let's start with the rod bearings. They're not terrible. They're not great either. That one's delaminating. There's definitely been some low quality oil. I would say low quality oil as well as extended oil change intervals for time. These cars typically don't get a bunch of miles on them, and I'm not going to say that's because they don't run long enough for that to happen, but you can say that. And let's get to what's broken. So rods and pistons, they are massive. They don't look great. This one has a bunch of damage, and that's from its neighbor, which did a catastrophe. That rod is bent, and there's the short end of the rod. And this is very telling. This is going to tell us exactly what happened here, because see that mark right there on the bottom of the piston? I would bet money, real money, like 10 cents or so, that the bottom of this piston made contact with the counterbalance of the crankshaft because it compressed a liquid. Now, whether that was fuel, whether that was coolant, or whether that was water, that's anybody's guess at this point. But this engine was hydrolocked and it broke a rod. I think it happened at a relatively low RPM, but if you think about the rotational mass of all of this, the size of that crank, that can do some major damage, especially on a cast block like it is. So that's the damage there. The rest of the rods and pistons don't look too bad. They're full floaters. Interesting piston design. They're very heavy. Not a ton of skirt wear. Okay, I lied. There's some skirt wear. Not on all of them. Some of them are worse than others. These, I have no idea if anybody would ever buy these unless you wanted one for your desk, in which case everything out of this engine is available. I don't think anyone that actually owns one of these old cars needs parts, or maybe they need all the parts, who knows. And if you own one of these cars and you need parts for it, well, I'm sorry. Now let's go to the crankshaft. So the crankshaft doesn't look too terrible, although I did kind of bang it up a little bit, pulling it out. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't the nicest to it. I don't know that this has any value whatsoever, but let's see if we can find marks on the counterbalance. Let me turn this crank over. Well, this is the area that would have struck it, and I don't really see a whole lot of marks on here, which is kind of surprising. But I think the crankshaft did make that mark. Or maybe it was the neighbor. I don't think it was the neighbor rod. It was definitely the crankshaft that would have done that. It makes the rod shorter, and the clearance between these counterbalances and the base of the piston. Here, I'll grab the piston. Take a look at that. See, it would have been this direction here. Yeah, maybe it didn't even hit it that hard, but it was enough to break the rod. I think this happened at low RPM. I don't think this was a high RPM failure. Main bearings aren't super bad. That one's starting to come apart. Not awful. The inside of the block, there's a massive damage to that bore. And again, I don't think all of these holes, all of this missing block was from what occurred to this engine. I think most of this was actually from someone trying to get the crank to turn, because with that short rod bent at an angle, I'm sure it did not. The rest of this looks pretty decent. I'm going to roll this over and we'll take a look at those bores. Well, the cross hatching is very visible still, and it definitely had some moisture sitting in it. You know, this engine, I think it sat on the shelf for many, many, many years before Josh thought it was a great idea for me to have it on the channel. I agree. I think this was fun. Everything looks pretty solid here. Not a lot of work needed to fix this, except for, you know, the gaping holes in it. There's a better look at the damage at the bottom. It's pretty bad. The rest of the bores look really quite nice. What's interesting too is, see, there's a little bit of material missing right there. Not on accident, it's by design. These look like liners, actually. There's only one thing left to do. See if the shoe fits. There's something about Cinderella in this. I'm not talking about a glove, I'm talking about a shoe. Look at that, it's almost perfect. Yeah, I don't think this engine turned. I think we can probably count the number of revolutions this crankshaft turned after the rod snapped. I would say this is probably 2 or 3 hits. That's 1, and then the 1 or 2 in the block. This shut down really quickly. I've torn down 170-something engines over the last 3 years on this channel, which is a staggering statistic, and it blows my mind. But we've covered a lot of bases. We've had gasoline engines, we've had diesel engines, medium-duty diesel engine, a Caterpillar, did a V-twin out of a motorcycle, a 3-cylinder, lots of 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, 8 cylinders. We've done several V10s, a V12, a rotary. We've had pushrod engines, overhead cam engines, direct injected, port injected, dual injected, carbureted, small block Chevrolet, turbocharged, supercharged, twin turbocharged. We've had engines from every single continent that produces cars. And if you average those all together and you formulate the normal engine that we would find on my stand every Saturday night, this is the furthest departure from normal that I can remember. It is also the first proper English engine that I've torn down. Yes, I've done Jaguars and I've done Rover engines, but those are Ford engines. This was a real British engine, and I had a great time. This was so much fun. So many oohs and ahs inside my brain when parts came off to see how it went together. The machining was interesting. The tooling was unique. I had such a great time. It also took 8 hours. This was an 8-hour teardown. Most of my teardowns are between 3 and 4 hours. I am tired. My back hurts. My brain hurts. My 11mm socket hurts. This took a lot. It took an hour just to get this engine on the stand. There was a lot. That was an ordeal. But I had a great time regardless, and I owe Josh a huge thank you for even the suggestion, because this is not an engine I would normally have on my radar, but the fact it was offered to me, put it there, and we all have Josh to thank for that. Now this engine, I think, sucked in water. I don't think it was fuel, because fuel typically would clean a piston. Same with hot coolant, but cold standing water won't, and it also still doesn't compress. I think it compressed that rod, it broke the rod, and if you think about that 75-pound crankshaft plus 8 rods and pistons, which are not light, and the valve train under power, it takes a lot for that to stop. I don't think it was at high RPM under heavy load or anything, but that's still a lot of inertia, and it punched several holes in the pan and the block. It did a lot of damage for a relatively low RPM. That's just the way I see this failure. Regardless, this has a lot of really cool parts. So if you want any of the parts out of this engine or anything else I've torn down, you can go to Importapart.com, or you can email us. I'll put our email in the video description. Or if you want parts off of another Miata. Yeah, I know. I buy Miatas, okay? Gosh. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this teardown. I'm ready to go home and get some sleep. As always, I love all the comments, all the feedback, and even the criticism. I love it all, and I'll catch you on the next one.